Priscilla, the lies and destruction she caused. This is a story of a young Elvis caught in her trap as well as her parents' trap. A young girl lies, weasels her way into Elvis Graceland and marriage and an heir. Money and fame behind the dark side of all the affairs, torturing Elvis. Then the king is gone. Priscilla wonders how much money can she now have. On Vernon's deathbed, she weasels her way into becoming the executor of the Elvis Presley Enterprises. The truth emerges now. With Child Bride, it shows that Priscilla was a scheming root of all evil that befell Elvis. So tune in. Here are some previews of all the videos that are going to be on The Truth About Elvis and Priscilla. Here's a preview of the playlist. Hello Elvis fans! This is Elvis Rare Elvis Photos on YouTube and Facebook. She would leak stuff to the press after Elvis's divorce, and there is stories about how Robert Kardashian said that she would actually put the phone off the hook when her and Robert Kardashian were being intimate, and Elvis would call, so Elvis would have to listen. And what this video is going to talk about is it's going to talk about the myth that she created that was built and based upon lies. Now, first off, I'm going to kind of just preface this with the fact that I don't necessarily blame her. She was a 14-year-old girl, 15, 16, 17, who desired to be famous, who desired to be to feel important. She had just found out prior to meeting Elvis, that she was adopted, or, that basically her mom and dad had lied to her that her real father had died in the war, and basically Priscilla's mom had kidnapped her, in a sense, from the father's parents, so she could not really know her real family. So let's start off with the fact that, she was a big Elvis fan prior to meeting Elvis, prior to going to Germany. She claims that she didn't like his music, she really didn't care much about it. But all of her friends in grade school and even family members said that she was obsessed with Elvis and had all of Elvis's records. So that doesn't jive with the story that she tells. And why did she happen to tell the story? Well, I mean, it's to kind of protect the image that she almost accidentally met Elvis and accidentally fell in love. I mean, she obviously didn't move herself to Germany, but when her folks did move to Germany, her mother was a big part of this. Her mother was obsessed with Elvis. She told all of her girlfriends, we need to go see the Elvis movie. So she was obsessed with Elvis Presley too. So when opportunity presented itself, the story that Priscilla told is that Currie Grant, who was a friend of Elvis Presley in the Army, came up to her and said, I know Elvis, and I'd like to introduce you to him. But in a book, that came out called Child Bride, a lot of you have read that or heard about that. It was written by award-winning biographer Suzanne Finstead. According to that, the correct history, according to Currie, is that he'd seen her around the SRO club and stuff, and that she came up to him and said, I heard you know Elvis, I want to meet him. So, Priscilla has carefully crafted this idea that she was a shy girl and that she was quiet and demure. But all of her friends, when interviewed, said that she was not, that she was outgoing, that she was into the wild, dangerous bad boys. And we're going to get into that story a little bit more of why she crafted that idea of herself with Elvis and after. But according to the biography of Priscilla Presley, Priscilla actually went and sat down with Suzanne as well on this, and we'll get into that too. But according to this biography, she went up to Currie and said, I want to meet Elvis. Now, Currie had a thing for Priscilla. He was married, And of course, Priscilla was only 14. Um, but he had a thing for her. He thought she was very attractive and all that stuff that goes along. Now, we're talking 1958, 59. Now, it's not that much different than where we're at nowadays, but it was somewhat different. There were people getting married at 14 and 15. And of course, Jerry Lee Lewis had the scandal of being with his cousin. Now, the cousin was the bigger part of the scandal, even though 13 is super duper duper young. That was a huge part, too. But back to this. So Currie had a thing for Priscilla, so he thought, okay, well, this is maybe a little bit of leverage, So
they would no
the
longer
backstory
want
in
to
this,
be with
Currie Grant would bring girls over.
sometimes
regardless of
Elvis's house.
Currie was never a
Elvis
real
would
take him off up to
good
the
friend
bedroom.
to
Elvis Presley, if you think about it. I mean, he had his own wants and desires and needs, and here he is, with his girlfriends getting stolen by Elvis. It's got to foster some jealousy and animosity. So anyway, he, with Priscilla asking, according to him, to meet Elvis Presley, he thought, okay, here's some leverage. So he waited, and eventually she, came up to him again and asked again, and he agreed that if they would spend some time together, quote unquote, spend some time together, that he would introduce her. But, he wanted to, obviously he wanted to do the deed with Priscilla. And, he was attracted to her. And she's 14. Now, once again, before we get too ticked off at Currie Grant, let's remember that Elvis Presley and Priscilla were intimate as well. Now, according to Priscilla, they didn't go all the way. Going back to Currie Grant.
Definitions,
so
like
he claims
like
that they went out and took a drive, and they pulled off and kind of on a side road and made out, and that Priscilla, according to Currie, was not that really into him at first.
Liked, they would make out more, and she would get more interested. Then he would coach her more, and they'd make out more.
Didn't take her to meet Elvis. Went out again. Now here we go. What we're talking about here is a couple of different things. First off, Currie was taking advantage of Priscilla, for sure, according to Currie's story. Second time, kissed. She was more willing, more enthusiastic, did more things. Still didn't, took her home, still didn't introduce her to Elvis. Third time, they did go all the way, according to Currie Grant. And he went on the record with this. Fourth time, went all the way again. Then he thought, okay, well, he started to feel bad. I'm going to take her to meet Elvis. Probably didn't think anything of it. He thought, okay, well, she's probably into me here because it's whatever. It was enthusiastic on both sides, or as enthusiastic as it's going to be. And, stopping right here, I feel bad for Priscilla in this moment because Currie Grant took advantage of her. He manipulated her. That being said, the other side of the story is that she was willing to do that in order to get an introduction to Elvis.
She also got coached and learned what Elvis liked and what Elvis would not like, so she could get.
May have gone all the way with other boys before this. She certainly drove around with 19-year-olds and smoked and drank and all that stuff when she was 12 and 13. This, according to all of her friends.
You're the devil in disguise.